Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today. We are live with Bits of Wealth today. We are going to be doing a quick market review for today. It's going to be exciting. Lots of great things happening in the market. We also caught a trade live during FOMO Friday last Friday, which worked out beautifully. Bits of Wealth called it during the stream live, and he also showed us where his stop losses were and everything else. So that was a really awesome trade. And then, of course, over the weekend, there were some pretty awesome trades as well in the group. Some small cap meme coin plays. So excited to kind of dive into everything that's happening and where we see markets go next. Bits, how are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. We are getting some volatility back in the markets, so that's good. But yeah, we're kind of scalping and trading both ways at the moment. So there'll be some good stuff to go over today.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
Yeah,
I'm excited definitely to dive in and see what's happening in the market. I will say though, before we get started, anything that we mention on this stream, none of that is financial advice. We are just sharing what we are doing and what we are looking in the markets and how we are kind of trading the markets right now. It's beautiful, lots of great setups. So we'll look into that. Bits, you want to go ahead and bring
sure.
your charts up, and I'm going to start sharing the link to the stream and all of the communities that I'm in. Let's get everybody up here. If you are just joining, please make sure that you are liking and retweeting and commenting. Let's get as many people up here as we can. Thank you.
Let me move this out the way. All right. Um, so yeah, look that short was a nice short, and then actually went long down here, not on ETH, sorry, down here on BTC, and just recently, and so far that's playing out very nicely as well. So um, I'll go over kind of like my daily idea that I'm entertaining at the moment. Let me just clean this up because I've got a lot of stuff that I was using to identify levels, and it can get kind of noisy when it's all on there. So let me remove a lot of this. And let me even remove that. And let me also remove that. All right. There's about as clean of a chart as I'm going to get for now for this idea. So we've looked at this range here for BTC, and this is one that I speak about on my evening streams as well. And we've mentioned it on the Wolf Trader Talk spaces. Um, my question, and this was when last week, I think. Yeah, it had to have been last week. I think my question last week when we came down here, right, is I was asking, what about this range is broken? Like what is it here about this price action that is broken? And my answer to that was I was suggesting that nothing is really broken about any of this. And even horizontal, what about this range is broken? And the answer to that, in my opinion, is that there's really nothing broken in here. You had a deviation above it, just like there's been some moves below it. But overall, 90% of the price action has landed inside of this, right inside of this range. So whether you're looking at the straight horizontal or you're looking at this like volatility channel here, nothing's broken. If we were to get a rejection from here and then it starts coming back down like that, okay, then it's broken, right? But currently it's not broken. Some of the best trades that I've found and the best opportunities have been when the market pokes out outside of this a little bit and then reclaims it and then sends it all the way across. You get that in both directions. Sometimes they'll poke out here and then it just comes all the way back. So, in my opinion, there's not a whole lot that's broken here in this range. This here is, what my mentor would call like a channel failure setup, which is it induces some late shorts here on a quote unquote breakout, right? Breakout type trade. and then it's just going to reclaim back into the range. So that's what I'm potentially eyeing right now. My base case is this. My base case is nothing here is broken. We continue to chop inside of this range with a potential move back up here still. That's kind of my base case at the moment. So what does that look like? If we zoom in to a 4 hour, and I know I've covered this thoroughly, but it's worth for, for anyone that's new, or for even just giving a refresher for someone that maybe has already seen it a time or two, just so you understand what I'm looking at. We knew down here was a liquidity zone. Even if you look at heat maps, there was like, 3 million or something like that in liquidity down here. There's quite a bit. Very simple, just all of this range here, people that were longing in this range, where were they putting their stops, and their liquidations would be found here, right? So very simply, very common sense kind of approach, very practical. So liquidity is here, hasn't really come down to tap that. Yesterday, we finally got that move into that liquidity. There's still a little bit more left here. There's a little bit below still that could come, but the large chunk of it has been taken. Up here, we've now got a lot of liquidity that's building up over here, more than there was down here. As a matter of fact, there's more liquidity now waiting at 98K than there was waiting here, which is interesting. On top of that, we are in this green zone. It's marked green for a reason. That's a high time frame support area, right? So if you go to like a daily or a weekly chart, this is an area, a demand zone, as is also called, right? A demand zone where price tends to see some absorption, right? Buys happen in this area. Sells are absorbed. So we're coming down to this area. We're at the bottom of this ascending channel. We're at this 1-day low volume node on the volume profile. We are, near value area low in terms of this. You've had already multiple red pushes down, right? So you can, if you recount these, there's an argument to be made that this is push number 1, push number 2. This last one was push number 3 into a key area. So you start adding all these up, and you start like just making a list of all the bullish potential signals of why you should be looking for a long down here, right? And so we've got, you start naming them, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, right? It's like you're moving into a liquidity zone. You're in a high time frame support area or demand zone. You're near value area low. You're at the bottom of a horizontal range. You're at the bottom of a volatility channel. You're near a 1-day low volume node. You're near a big liquidity heat map zone. I can't have a list of things like that tell me that I should be looking for long, and then look at this and say, oh, but sentiment is so bad, I probably should be short here. I'm sorry, I just can't do that. So my style says that when I've got that many things telling me to long, I take the trade, even at the risk that I'm wrong and this goes lower. High time frame, yes. Like there's no denying high time frame. We've talked about this. High time frame, this is a very strong move down. There's nothing here that's invalidating this move down. My expectations should still be continued downside, but that doesn't mean that we can't get that before we get that continued downside, right? So for me personally, this is just me. This is not me, like Lady Trader said, I'm not giving any kind of advice. I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm explaining my thought process, my system, my methodology. There was too many reasons for me to get long here that I just simply could not follow through with that process. So I've got a long position from here. I'm also open to the idea that if this needs to come down one more time and put in like a higher low here sometime tonight, I'd be okay with that. But this to me is just looking like it's trying to do either that, or potentially it's already going to do that and it's already in. So yeah, easy for me. Invalidation is simple. I really don't want to see any kind of close below 84. And if I see a nice healthy close above here on a 4 hour, 92-ish, or even just we're kind of playing in this zone, I think there's a higher probability that even if it comes down, it's going to try and do that. So yeah, I'm currently long biased here. I think too many people are looking bearish, and for good reason. I'm not dismissing that. I think for good reason, but I did take that long, and I am willing to continue to look for long opportunities, even on another move down here, to grab whatever remaining liquidity there may be here. I think it's potentially just doing like a big, it's already potentially doing a big multi-session W, but you could have a smaller W, either that or, or something like that. Or even if it were to come a little bit lower, it could be doing that as well. But for me, this is an area where I need to be looking for long opportunities until proven otherwise. And then, of course, if we get that beautiful move back at least to here, like 92 to 94, there'll be reason to take profit and look for some short positions to take here. And then up here, like you have to be paying attention up here at like 100K. But one thing that was called out today, and I'll kind of wrap with this. Landy hit on this perfectly, and it is worth noting, right? This is a point for discussion. This here, well, here I got to turn. Let me turn it back. Let me do it on let me do it on this chart, BTC all-time history, because this one's a nice clear chart that doesn't have anything on it. So on Bitcoin, if we're looking at the weekly chart, something significant has happened, and that is that on this move down, right? Like you've got a clear high up here that, as long as we're below that, everything is just a lower high. And then we've now got a nice low here that, anything above that is just a higher low for now. And then in this structure here, it's just been super choppy. But one thing that it did give us that we can now kind of work with is we now have an internal level here of structure that we can look to. So one thing you'll notice here is on this push down, right? Like on a closing basis, we did also get a lower close on the weekly, right? So we had this low, you pushed up, this was higher, and then now we're lower, right? So this is significant here. So we've now closed lower on the weekly compared to this, right? After putting in that high there. So now this is very simple. Now we've got very clear structure on the weekly. If this is continuing lower, we should expect, even if it pushes up, we should expect a lower high. If we were to get a higher high, even on a closing basis here, like if you were to get a higher close than this close, you should be paying attention for the potential that you get a higher high. And if on a weekly basis, if we were to get if on a weekly basis we were to get a higher high and close above 97.8 up here, that's significant, because that's telling you that potentially you're still doing this, right? Inside of here, inside of this structure. So all the speculation that this was that bull trap could go out the window with just a move up there. So let's see what happens. This is I like when it's like this, when it's nice and clear. It gives you good levels to look at, that are just fact and database, not really opinion based, as opposed to like over here, it's kind of my own analysis. But on the weekly, on those higher time frames, just like even you talking about the 12-month close, the annual close for BTC, like those are just the facts. It's not really our opinions; those are just the facts. But so that's where I'm at, and I'm not really looking at anything else. I mean, I think ETH looks pretty good here, but again, I need BTC to kind of confirm the move. But I think ETH might have done something similar, where you look at Ethereum, came down, wiped out all the liquidity that was here, and is still putting in higher lows, right? So ETH is still putting in higher lows to the downside. Has not breached that, has not breached that, has not breached that. So if this here is actually above that, and if this can keep pushing, like ETH has a shot. ETH has a shot of going just like BTC does. Even Solana, although Sol's a little different, because Sol did come down to the bottom of that range. So Sol did wipe out and came down here and basically gave an equal low with this low from December, which is quite interesting. So yeah, look, I think we're potentially setting up for a little bit of upside here, while everyone is looking lower at the lows.
No, love that, Bits. Any other takes on Solana or anything else before we move on?
No, I think that's good. I mean, we can always circle back, but I think we're looking for confirmation that that move was potentially it. I think yeah, I think we'll find out. Like if there's another move lower coming, I want to see buyers really step in and push that up. One like I guess one quick way to just put this, like if you're not sitting there and you don't have time to stock the charts, if this starts coming back down from anywhere up here, right? If BTC is rejecting here at 88 and a half, and it starts coming back down, easy way to know that you're potentially going higher is if this puts in either a higher low here or an equal low, or even if it's slightly below, you'll know once it comes back above this. If it comes back above 88, almost 89 with like a vengeance, if this is a like a power move, if you've got some speed and some volume behind this next push up, that's probably signaling that this was like some kind of W down here. This was like the lows, and then this will probably push pretty nicely. But at some point, even then, you'll get a pullback, establish that this is now support, and then you'll see that continuation. I don't think we're going to rip straight to 94 on that first attempt. I think if we're lucky, we maybe see 91 and a half, 92. But I think a pullback would come after that first to kind of flip 88, 89K, and then we'd potentially see some follow through to go to 94 and see how we do up there. So yeah, but that's about it. I know I ranted a little bit, but that's kind of like my view for the day, my quick rundown.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is great, Bits. I'm gonna go ahead and share my chart and go over some of the setups that I have been in the last couple of days, and I've shared it in the community as well. And also want to reiterate a couple of things that we discussed on the spaces and also during FOMO Friday. So I want to bring it up in case you haven't heard me say that. I know most of you have, but I keep bringing this up because this is important. I think everybody needs to really pay attention to this. Because I'm seeing something on the charts right now on a higher time frame chart that is concerning to me. And so if you look at it, this is basically your yearly chart, right? If we go back 10 years, you saw this candle right here. And once this candle was thrown, it kind of kicked off that 10-year long bull trend, right? So even though we had quite a bit of um, upside here, or I'm sorry, there were a couple of yearly red candles, but we were overall like if you bought here at $459, you are good to go for the next 10 years, right? And what we are seeing right now is something that is concerning to me because you're seeing this candle here, which is very, very similar to what we see here. It's not as big, of course, but it's a very similar candle and it's inverted, which basically it's kind of put an end to it. And also, it also put an end to a major trend because if you remember, we used to have these, you guys have heard me talk about it, the 3 green dots, which didn't really even matter to me. I didn't even look at it until this cycle because I was just following the Bitcoin cycle where you buy at the bottom, right after it has created a new all-time high and crashes the whole year. You buy at the end of that year and you're good to go. That's basically how I've been trading Bitcoin. So it didn't really matter to me 3 green dots or one red dot, but it's been talked about quite a bit, right? That okay, we had 3 green years followed by 1 red year, then 3 green years followed by 1 red year, and look at what happened. We had 2 green years followed by a red year, which means that now there was a change in structure of some sort, a change in trend. So this was like a trend that stayed for many, many years. And then at, basically a 10-year mark, it basically stopped. It was like, all right, we're done here, right? And so that's something to be concerned about because these kind of changes in the market can potentially do some longer term change or reversal in the structure of the market. So this is something that I need to call out, right? Of course, I follow historical data, so I'll be buying at the end of the year in October, and I will tell you, I have bought multiple cycles previously with 100% confidence. There was never a doubt in my heart, like, okay, this is it. We are buying the bottom. This is it. That's it. And there was never a doubt. There was never a what if it's different this time? What if we are going lower? But I will tell you this time, I will be a little bit concerned. And so I'm still going to be buying it, but I am concerned. And so it's something to look out for. Also, if you look at it, which is this is something that we all like as the market maker method traders, we like to see 3 pushes to the upside after the price has already made the move. So we saw a huge run on the yearly chart on Bitcoin, and then you had basically the first push, second push, and then the third push. So after that, oftentimes is you could pretty much look at any smaller time frame, like go to 4-hour, daily, weekly charts. You'll see when you see a push like this, it's usually followed by a much bigger correction than what we are anticipating. So something to keep an eye on. Hopefully that's not the case, right? We find a nice little bottom here at the end of the year, maybe somewhere around somewhere under 40K, right? 37 maybe, and then we continue our move up. But this makes sense. And then also, I was talking to somebody who has been with me in multiple cycles. He's part of my community. He's not always very active in the community, but I've known him since 2020, and we've done these cycles multiple times together. So when I was talking to him, he mentioned something to me which is important to bring up. When we look at silver, silver was basically in a consolidation for a long time. So actually, let me bring up silver here for a second. So silver was in a consolidation for a very, very long time before it actually made the move to the upside, right? Created the new all-time highs and everything. But the price was really consolidating for many years before we saw this upside. And I remember even my mentor, Kelvin Ryan, he was buying silver when it was at $14, $15, right? And he said, when the market shifts, silver is going to make parabolic moves and it's going to be great. And he was accumulating, at those levels. But silver was basically, silver had its run, right? It had its run, nice runs, but then it was suppressed for many, many years. And then, of course, now we are starting to see the move to the upside finally after all these years, right? So there was a multi-year consolidation on silver accumulation. So what this person said is, if we are expecting the markets to go up and on Bitcoin and create a new all-time high and go into millions of dollars, then there has to be some sort of an accumulation phase. There has to be some sort of an accumulation phase that would allow institutions and the big players to actually accumulate a lot lower before they would allow the price to move into millions. So again, it's just a theory, right? But what he said about silver made a lot of sense to me, because yes, silver was in accumulation for many years. So do you think market's going to give us the multi-million-dollar Bitcoin very easily? I don't know. This one tells me a different story. This is a candle that I'm concerned about, yearly candle, right? Like if you were to see this candle, this would make you happy that, okay, this is a green candle now, multi-year trend. This is just dangerous to me. So let's see how it plays out, right? But I'll definitely be cautious over the next few years. And let's say that going into the next cycle, hopefully we'll still get some upside, right? This is still going to be a major support area. So regardless of what happens, we should get a bounce here somewhere. And even if it's short-lived, we also have to see where this one went, right? It did a little bit of a retracement, but then it pumped quickly. So we'll have to watch it very carefully when the price is down here to see what actually happens. But if we fail to make a new all-time high in 2029, which is supposed to be the next bull year post halving, then that is going to be very concerning, because then you're looking at a potentially much larger shift in market structure. And I will at that point be very significantly changing how I usually trade and hold Bitcoin. So just something that I wanted to call out, because I'm seeing it on the chart and you can't ignore it. Bits, anything you want to add to that?
No, I just do think it's smart to look at those higher time frames and recognize that to change the outcome of a 12-month candle,
Mm-hmm.
that you need 12 months of like, it'll take months, it'll take a long time, and so right now the problem is not that one individual candle. Right now the problem is the series of candles you're putting in. It's kind of like this three candle fractal up there. It's and those reversal, we call them reversal candles, but another way to look at them
Mm-hmm.
is they're kind of like candles of completion. They're telling
Mm-hmm.
you that some trend is now complete. It's coming to an end. It's coming to a closing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. I think it's wise to recognize that, we kind of talked about some of this stuff this morning, but we've talked about it even with like North Star and stuff in the past. There's some macroeconomic dynamics at play right now that we haven't seen in a while. Some of I would say a good portion of CT traders, people that are on online on social media and Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them haven't lived in a period where markets haven't been going up and to the right, and they have no context. They have no idea what the world looks like in a world where that's not constantly the case, because markets have been just ripping straight up and to the right, and it's made it look like it's so easy, like you just invest in stuff and it just goes up over time, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so it'll be interesting. I think I'm keeping a pretty grounded shorter term perspective at the moment, and just kind of being open to, I'm being open to, I'm trying to be like Bruce Lee said, I'm trying to be like water. I'm trying to let it just kind of like, I'm going to go with the flow and the path of least resistance. And whether that's to the upside or to the downside, I'm perfectly okay with that. But yeah, look, I don't dismiss what you're saying, and I think it wouldn't take much to really scare the market at this point, given everything that's already happening.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't really require a whole lot. And as we move towards these lives and habits where everything depends on online access and the power grid and things like that, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a simple scare that lasts a couple days would probably be sufficient to maybe have people rethink some of their strategies, or at least want to hedge a little bit against that. So, like, even what we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing with gold and silver right now, like we're seeing gold and silver absolutely rip, right? And it's on this
Mm-hmm.
premise. It's not anything new. I mean, crypto bros have been talking about it for a long time, right? This whole fiat debasement trade. It is the fiat debasement trade. It's exactly what it is. The problem is they didn't choose they didn't choose your coin, bro. They chose gold and silver. You know what I mean? It's like you were in the
Mm-hmm.
wrong meme, basically. So
Yeah. No,
you were
absolutely.
you were in Bitcoin, and it was the wrong shit coin. They went with the other ones, which are gold and silver. So we'll see if
Yeah.
there's a rotation at some point. I'm not
Yeah.
betting on it heavily. There could be a short-term rotation, but I can share that though. Maybe I should pull that up because this kind of goes with like what you're sharing. Let me pull my chart up again.
Yeah, absolutely. And Carl is saying perhaps there's more silver to accumulate than there's Bitcoin. Yeah, you got a point, Carl. And I would say though, like as a historical data follower, I will still follow the same thing, right? Basically buying at the end of the year. But I'm just being cautious this time, like extra
Yeah.
cautious, just because of what the charts are telling me. Go ahead, Bits.
Yeah, and I think there's more. Like Carl, with that also, there's like this tendency that we have to like try and always put everything in competition against each other, right? And we're like, oh, but I know how many Bitcoin there are perfectly, and we don't know how much silver there is, and blah. It's like, yeah, but none of that really matters. It's like we saw it even with the meme coins. Here's a really good example. Even with the meme coin craze, money didn't necessarily flow to the best meme coin, like with the best roadmap or the best name or the best image or the best utility. It just flowed where the narrative was. Like at some point, there's a narrative, it gets enough momentum, people pile in, and that's the one that sends, and that's just how it goes, right? So I think there's a bit of that that's maybe happening. But look, I did want to bring it up because right now everyone's talking about metals. This is the gold over Bitcoin, or sorry, Bitcoin over gold chart. And I do think it's worth noting that, it's not very far now from an area that could be a significant bounce zone. Like I think everyone's looking for a bounce here, and maybe it does, But
Mhm.
I would think that if we get a bounce here in BTC against metals, it's kind of just like a cool off. I think ultimately the bigger bounce makes sense down here. You've got a nice fair value gap over here that also happens to also structurally be a very key area here. You've got a lot of structure pivots, right? You've got big supports. You've got turned into big resistances right here. This is an area where I want to be paying attention. So that zone is anywhere, I'd say anywhere from about 15 ounces of gold per BTC up to about 17 ounces of gold per BTC. We're at 17 and a half. So we're approaching that. I think it's a big zone to be watching. A lot of structural technical reasons there. And then I did throw this channel on here. This channel is it is a bit early to place it here yet because we don't know where this swing is going to go, but I'm kind of reverse engineering my own channel logic of like how I place them. And this kind of makes sense. I mean, you get perfect alignment with that close, that wick, these closes. You anchor it off of there. This gives you perfect support here at these fib lines. Perfect supports here at the median fib line as well, which is pretty key. And then perfect rejections right here at these fib lines. So I think this channel is probably more accurate than it should be at this point because it is a bit premature. It is a bit early. I don't have all the information to fully place it here just yet as like its final resting place. But I'm seeing plenty. I'm seeing too many points of confluence with this channel that kind of leads me to believe that it's probably pretty close. It would maybe require very, very, very minor tweaking once we know where that low is in. But look, this is a huge level, and it also happens to be the 2017 high. It happened to be the 2021 bottom between the two peaks right here, right at that level. It also was resistance while we're at like the bottom of the bear market. And it was where BTC first got its first structure, like first strong structure change that really told you, okay, this thing is getting ready to go and go higher and get out of this like consolidation down here. That was that point of that break there. And we never came back and didn't come back and retest this area since the break. It just went higher and higher. So this is an area I'm watching. I suspect there's a really good chance BTC is going to bottom against gold somewhere in here. About 15 to 16 is like the more concentrated area, but it could be as high as like 17, 15 to 17-ish ounces of gold per BTC, somewhere in there. Now, this could also overshoot, right? This could, with some kind of bad news, get a bit of an overshoot and then end up kind of closing up there. Very, very similar to like what we're kind of seeing with BTC right now. I would actually say where it's kind of like below the bottom of this current channel right here. Like this is a good example of how you can kind of overshoot that, go slightly below it, and then it can still kind of work on reclaiming that. So I think we could see a similar thing here if it doesn't find a perfect balance, if it doesn't bounce a little bit ahead of it, because it also could kind of front run that. It doesn't have to fully go down exactly to that level. But somewhere in here is kind of my prediction. Now, if we look at Bitcoin over silver, so this is Bitcoin and silver. We have now come down below this area that we were watching. Initially had like an initial bounce, but did not hold. So we'll remove that. And I mean, at this point, like, very good chance it's going to swing down below this to maybe grab liquidity that might be down below here. You do have some imbalances here that it could be trying to maybe just fill and go higher. But at that point, I really just question, like, why wouldn't you just swing, down here somewhere to try and find that bounce? So we'll see. Either way, though, I guess what I'm trying to say here is Bitcoin is likely to find a bottom against silver and gold sooner rather than later. So, and what you'll see here, what you'll see in this last little bit, because you're already seeing it actually, is you're going to start seeing all the posts of people, I'm selling all my Bitcoin and I'm rotating into silver. I'm selling all my Bitcoin and I'm going into gold. That's all going to happen here as it's kind of putting in whatever this bottom is going to be, guys. And then This is where silver is going to go parabolic. Maybe on this last little leg down, we see 140, $150 silver. You might
Mm-hmm.
be hearing headlines of, shortages at retailers that sell that, in the spot. Like you're gonna get all of the typical topping signals
Mm-hmm.
as we move into this, right? So, and
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get max FUD against BTC, and then that's gonna be forming a bottom, in my opinion, which doesn't mean, like, even if this bounces here in both this and the gold one, this does not mean that it can't continue lower. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying that there's going to be a bounce. The initial reaction here at some point will be a bounce. There could be some relief, and then we'll gauge what comes next, because this could keep going down. Ultimately,
Yeah.
there's a lot of liquidity down here, even below that. This could keep going down, but I expect a bounce. Here's what I'm trying to say against gold and silver, at least in the short term. Whether it lasts weeks, months, that I don't know. But I think in that time, as I'm talking about BTC also kind of finding a bounce and heading back towards 100K, I find confluence in that. I find
Mm-hmm.
confluence that if this starts ripping towards 100K, people think metals are topped, and then up here over 100K, people start selling their metals to go back into BTC, somewhere between 100, 110K. And if BTC is going to continue going lower, people start aping into this right as the bounce against metals is kind of coming to an end and it starts rotating back and people are on the wrong side again and people are chasing it. So um, you got to be ahead of that stuff, which is why I'm looking for reasons to stay long and get long BTC in the short term, because I'm seeing signs here. Also, here's another chart that also is important. This is Bitcoin against equities. So this is BTC over SPX and NDX. So I've got SPX and NDX combined as the denominator. And I want you to look at this chart. So what is this chart currently doing? It's currently trying to find a bounce in a high time frame support area, right? Somewhere in here. Could it come down a little bit more and then bounce? Yes. But Bitcoin against equities is closer to an area where I should be looking for a bounce than it is to an area where I should be looking for a big rejection. So I also think that this also is telling me that Bitcoin is likely to find a bounce in the short term, right? Like this could come one last leg down and then it starts going like that. In the short term, it's got room to push up. And then ultimately, if that fails up there, we could still see continuation lower. But this is also telling me the same thing the Bitcoin USD chart is telling me, which is I think the bull trap hasn't really happened yet. I think the bull trap is still coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing that in Bitcoin over equities. I'm seeing that in Bitcoin over US dollars. And I'm seeing that in Bitcoin against these metals as well. So I'll do more work on this one because I actually want to combine the gold and silver chart, or maybe some more of the precious metals. Because you could also do this one, right? I've talked a lot about this one. This is Bitcoin over GSG, but GSG is combining, like this combines a lot of things. I had written down what it was, but it's metals. I think it even does like livestock, all kinds of stuff that gives us like real world value. And even this,
Mm-hmm.
what's Bitcoin doing here against GSG, which is if you want to go look that up, GSG is the iShares commodity. Why is it not showing it here? Hold on. GSG. Hold on, guys. Normally it shows it. GSG. Nope. Hold on here. Might break it. There it is. It's the iShares GSCI commodity indexed trust. You can go look that up. You can ask Grok or ChatGPT, what does this trust, what does this ticker represent? And it's gonna tell you what I'm talking about. It's probably the most accurate way to measure real dollar or real value, in the sense of like these are real life tangible things. These are commodities, and so Bitcoin is again potentially finding a bounce against commodities as everyone is trying to rotate into commodities, right? Not surprising there. So yeah, and this doesn't have to, again, I'm not saying this is going like that, but I'm just saying it could at least a bounce if it's going to melt. I think it bounces from here even if it melts. So But yeah, I'm just every way I try and paint BTC, whether it's against dollars, whether it's over equities, whether it's against precious metals, whether it's over commodities as a whole. I'm seeing more reasons for me to be looking for long opportunities in the short term with a general expectation of I'm going to get a short higher up. I'm going to get that bull trap higher up where I can short it if it's going lower, as opposed to sitting here being max bearish at these levels. I just don't see that.
Mhm. Carl is asking commodities. Yes, like gold, oil,
Yep.
all that.
Yep.
But,
Here,
there is
I'll
so
tell
much.
you exactly. I'll tell you exactly what it represents here because I know I have a post somewhere. Let me look it up and I'll tell you exactly what that represents. Here,
GSG.
yeah, so GSG tracks the performance of commodities like agriculture, energy, precious metals. So think of like real goods and services, real goods and value, right? And so the Bitcoin GSG ratio, what it basically does is it gives you like a really clean way to measure Bitcoin's real world appreciation because it's against real world value, right? Not just like these speculative values. This is like real world stuff. Agriculture is a very real world thing. Energy is a very real world thing. Precious metals, right? And what you do by doing this is you're stripping out US dollar noise because GSG, you're looking at GSG over dollars and then you're looking at BTC over dollars. But when you put BTC over GSG, you're basically canceling out those denominators. So you're removing dollar noise, dollar inflation, you're removing all of that. And you're just looking at how is Bitcoin doing in purchasing power in terms of its ability to buy agriculture, buy energy, or buy precious metals. That's basically what you're looking at. So when the Bitcoin over GSG chart makes new highs, then Bitcoin is basically seeing increasing value in real world resources, essentially barrels of oil, tons of copper, wheat, like that type of stuff, right? Versus when it's going down, it's losing the ability to buy those real world valuable goods, right? Like my Bitcoin can't, if you're thinking of like barter system, I can't go out and use it to buy real world value when this chart is trending down. So yeah, so basically what you want to see is, when you look at BTC over dollars, it's showing you how many more worthless dollars your Bitcoin can buy because dollars are being printed and it doesn't really tell you anything. It's sure number go up looks fun, but it didn't really tell you anything. But you put Bitcoin over GSG and it tells you how much real world stuff in the physical world can one Bitcoin actually buy me? What kind of purchasing power does it truly command when we strip away the dollar as noise? So hopefully that clears it up for you a little bit.
Thank you, Bits. Anything else before we move on to some of the plays that we were
No,
in?
let's move on. I ranted enough today. I'm going to shut my mouth.
No, this was super helpful for sure. I know there's. Let me go ahead and add myself to the stage. So,
hey, welcome,
quite a few.
Flapjack. By the way, I just saw your comment. New here, happy to have different views in different sectors. Yeah, absolutely, happy to have you.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Welcome, Flapjack. Just saw this comment. Thank you, Derek. Thank you.
No.
Carl, of course. Thank you. Chris, thank you for reposting. Appreciate everybody who's here today. But
Yes.
basically, we had Soul Boy, which I shared. I think it was around 118K, if I'm not mistaken. And then it gave us this nice little move to the upside, right? About 3x. And then it crashed. And I did identify this area and I said, when the price comes back down here, I'm going to be buying. I don't know anything about this team, but I know quite a few good, genuine KOLs who kind of told me about this play and I trusted them. And that's why I was basically in it. I knew it was going to be a longer term, more sustainable play. And so it may give us this move. And then, of course, when the price came down here, I bought right here as well pretty heavily. And it actually did hit a little over $1 million. And so
Yeah.
I am out of this trade now. I think it did its move. It could go up. It could go up to about 5 mil. What I'm looking for is maybe potentially buying it around 200K once again for a little bit, right? Not
Yeah.
going to be going as big, but this is something that I've started to kind of like it. And it may not come back down here. We don't know yet, but we'll see. It's been pretty consistent with the way that it's been throwing these patterns, right? So I'm thinking maybe some sort of a consolidation, maybe downward move, and then maybe another move to the upside. It may not be as significant after that. Who knows? We'll see. But has cute graphics, kind of gives me like a what was it? Oh my gosh, I forgot. Chill guy kind of vibe. So we'll see. We have the chill guy, we have the chart guys, but it was a pretty awesome move. I mean, it gave us a big move, like almost 10x, a little over 10x actually, if we bought here, and which I did. And so this was a great trade. And then the other one that I did share in the group was GSD, which hit our take profit. So this was the identified area right here where we all bought in. There was a reminder as well that was sent in the group, and then it did give us a little bit of the upside here, about 3x almost, right? So I did catch this move. Most of us did. I don't have a current position in it right now because it's choppy. Markets are pretty choppy, so I'm securing profits as I go. But this was a good one that we found. The other one yesterday we got into was Coinbase. I was kind of I don't really know where this project is going. It doesn't have the healthiest chart right now, but it is kind of holding certain levels. So where I got in and I did send an alert in the group and I bought was right here. So and it did give us like a nice little move to the upside, right? Depending on where you entered, 2 to 3x easy, maybe a little bit more. So I did get into this one and I did get out as well because I don't know about this one. There was a Robinhood as well, which we got into super early. Some of these narrative plays, like I don't really know their team. It's like it came out, it's like, okay, Coinbase, cute, might do a little bit, might do a couple of X's here. So which is what it ended up doing. And so Robinhood and a couple of other ones, somebody tried to create Binance and they all rugged, but they still gave 3 to 4x or more depending on when you entered. And if you know how to take profit and how to kind of secure your bags as you get into some of these meme plays, you're good to go. I was not awake here. I wasn't watching this. If I was, I probably would have bought in here and maybe even caught this move to the upside. But it would still we would be nervous, right? Because you had a bit of a lower high right here as well. So there's that, but it seems like this level has been held pretty well. So I'm kind of interested to see if this project is going to die here or is it going to make a
Right.
new high. If it does make a new high, of course, on the pullback, there will be opportunities that I'll be watching. So we'll see how this one works out. Also, Opium Bird. This one, like I said, I'm not too keen on this, but it is in the buy zone right now. So I do have a small position in this one. I have some concerns about it just based on the chart on the higher time frame. It's not my favorite setup. Like my favorite setup was that GSD, and you saw how quickly it went to your profit. This one also, it kind of went into profit a little bit, but did not give me even 2x on this. And so currently I'm like I bought in here, so I'm a little bit down on this, but I'm not going very heavy on some of these plays. So we'll see how this one works out. But this is a play that I'm in right now, Opium Bird. It is a beta for Penguin, and it's sort of holding well. I just don't like the way it created like daily chart and everything, right? Like I'm not a fan of this. This to me is not good. Like if it was a healthier looking chart, then I'll be okay with it. It's just not a very healthy looking chart right now. So this is why a little bit of a risky trade, but regardless, I'm in this one. We'll see what happens. Like again, risk to reward ratio is important. A lot of these setups have a very high win rate from what I've seen, like 95% win rate. So I'm okay with losing a couple of trades if I have to, but we'll see how this one plays out. I'll be monitoring this one. It is still in the buy zone, so we'll see. Another one that we've been in for a long time. My goodness, it took a long time to play. Very slow mover. But we got into this one pretty early as well, before it started to do kind of like this move to the upside. But it did hit very close to 800K for us, and gave us some nice ROI on this one. So I'm keen to see how it works out. Like maybe price comes back down at this level and maybe holds. We'll see. But there were multiple areas that I've sent in the group where there were opportunities to kind of DCA in. So um, Chad 123. Let's see. Chad 312. There are teams on meme coins. Yes, there are sometimes. I mean, there are teams or communities. A lot of times, there are reputable people that would create a meme coin, right? That would go into multi-million dollars, but they don't want to manage it. They just hand it over to the community, which is silly. So yeah, sometimes there are teams. I don't know. Like whenever I'm talking about these meme coins, I'm very clear most of them are going to rug. They're all trash. Nothing there, right? So be cautious with these. I'm cautious with them. But hey, they're working out well so far. So that's basically there. Let's see. PSYOP is moving up again today. Let's take a look at it. I'm out of that one. Whoa, okay. And I mean, this was the level that we identified, right? 3.9, and it ran all the way up to about 12 mils. So it gave us a nice little 3x. It came back down again. So this is very interesting. This was nice. If I was watching, I probably would have bought here. Very, very nice setup. I wonder where it's going to go. I know Colombo in our group is super bullish on this team for some reason. He's super bullish because there was supposed to be some sort of a collab with a large account. So I don't know where it's going to go. I guess we'll have to see. And then another thing I want to bring up, GME and AMC, remember, there's always a narrative around it. So it's not the time to buy like once it's already pumped. But if you could find it, like this is what I do is when they are like it's down significantly, then I try to buy a little bit. Like I try to accumulate a little bit at the lows. I have not done it for this cycle so far yet, like I guess in the last few months, I should say. But normally I would buy the bottom on it and hold it until it pumps again because there's always a narrative around GME and AMC. So when I find them lower, I do buy them. I'm not in it currently. It did do this pump, and maybe somebody was accumulating here, and maybe it will come down. But if I get it under $1 million market cap, I'm probably going to be picking some up for a long term hold because you never know whenever they have these silly meme stock runs that happen in the stock market. And whenever that happens, of course, the GME and AMC in the crypto market also get a nice little upside. So, and then of course we have Flying Horse, that Bits of Wealth's favorite. Bits, I bought some as well. Are you still in it?
Yeah, I'm still holding, and I've actually got another buy at just under 1 mil and another one at like 500K if it goes down there. So,
Okay.
yeah, I still think
Where
this
are
thing will rebound, but at this point, like I think the big levels are it needs to reclaim about 3.5, almost 4 mil, and then if it can do
Mhm.
that, it gets back into that same range that it was in, which puts the top at about like 7 to 8 mil. So,
Mhm.
yeah, we'll see. This one has a lot of holders. It's a pretty like distributed coin. But yeah, it's pretty beat up right now, which sometimes I think is the opportunity in these is like you wait till they're beat up and you buy when they're absolutely beat up. So as
Mhm.
long as there's a community there and people are buying it, sometimes there's an opportunity for a bounce. But yeah, I'd say like if you're buying here, you probably want to trim a little bit, like over 3 mil. Try and get maybe like your seed out or something, and leave some profits in there for
Mhm.
like a moon bag.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm thinking probably gonna go here, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
2.8,
Yep.
right? And then maybe a little bit above 5 mil, of course, that's a good level, like a
Yes.
psychological level too,
Yep.
which hasn't been retested after it broke through as well. So
Yep.
that's another thing to kind of watch. Um, but yeah, it's again, these are risky, right? So they can rug also. So be cautious,
Yes.
everyone, with any of these plays that we mentioned. Some of them have good communities. But yeah, we are not sponsored by them. We are not being paid. It's our risk is pretty much going to be the same risk that everybody else has, right? We are buying with our own money into these. So, um,
Yeah,
Yeah. So
we're giving you levels like before price gets to the level. So you're actually like the stuff that we're covering when we talk about memes. We're
mhm.
actually a lot of the times we're covering opportunities that you guys might even front run us in
Yeah,
getting into some
exactly.
of those. So yeah, it's not like all the other like you see a lot of KOLs unfortunately with these that are um as prices like topping, they start bull posting hard because what they want is they want one last push up so they can exit the rest of their bags before it goes crashing
Mhm.
down, right? So just be aware.
Yeah, exactly. That's what most KOLs do. Or what they will do is they'll tell you right after they enter. So you are basically the exit liquidity for them.
Yeah.
Bits and IV identify these levels way in advance. So we tell you, hey, when the price comes back down here, I'm going to be buying. And there's a chance that you will likely get a better entry than I do or Bits does. Um, Maybe not, depending on who is online, right? If you're watching the charts or not, or if you have orders set up or not. But basically, this one is RADR. I'm liking this one. I'm going to be buying when the price comes back down here. So I'm already telling you that I'm going to be buying in this level, which of course you could front run me if you're watching. But this is going to be where I'm going to be looking for buy opportunities to maybe run it up. I'm not going to be too greedy, right? 2 to 4 mil maybe but 2 mil even, I'm fine with that. Might get as high as 3 to 4 mil. So we'll see. It did hit $5 million market cap as well. So those are some key levels. It has a nice chart as well, nice ranging chart that's kind of creating good patterns here. So we'll see if the price comes back down. Definitely, I'll be buying. So this is just one of those plays. This one I caught yesterday. I didn't send it in the group because I'm like, it looks very risky to me. I actually got in super early on this one, like around maybe here, like 12, $13,000 market cap. It was just like whatever, like a very small, tiny bag, just to kind of hold and see what it does. Definitely look into the narrative of this. And this is another thing too. If I'm taking a trade, then I'm not confident that it's gonna at least do some. Yeah, like if I'm not super confident about it, if it looks scammy to me, I'm not gonna share it in the group. Even though if I share it in the group, it means you're gonna buy, which means that my bag is automatically gonna be worth 2 to 3 times or 4 times or 5 times more, depending on who you share it with, if you buy. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm gonna be protecting you versus thinking about just my position going up in value, right? That's just unethical. But this was actually one that I got into and I didn't know what it was going to do. I was like, maybe it could do like a couple of X's. Maybe if it's a good narrative, it can pick up. Um, so maybe do your research on this one, YZY ARC. Some people are saying that it's related to Kanye West in some capacity. I don't know. I don't know anything about that, but maybe something to look into. I did not feel comfortable sharing it in the group. I felt like it could rug. I mean, this was like a major rug type move, right? But it did kind of catch a bottom here. So we'll see what happens with this one. But I'm in it still. I have a small position in it, and it's in profit right now. So, but do your own research on this one. I don't know enough to speak about this one. But some of the other ones, I mean, they did pretty phenomenal. Tears is on a downtrend right now. I hope that it does find a bottom very soon. I think it will. Again, I'm bullish on it. I'm holding my position on this one. I'll be buying if it does come down a little bit more. I'm okay with it. I did miss out on this crash here. I know some people in the group caught this one. I was not that lucky, so I'm fine with it. I know this team has started doing spaces now as well. So I know they had their first space, which was neat. Don is supporting it as well from Alpha Meta. Don is somebody that I have a lot of respect for, so he's kind of supporting this community, which is one of the reasons why I am bullish on this one as well. And it's a political narrative, so we'll see what it does. Um, this was another one that I sent out, and I'm in it right now. I did buy it somewhere around here. And I was also sending an alpha on this. I did not catch this one. But I have it drawn here in case the price comes back down here. But I did mention that I'm in it already, and I will expect this to at least hit 1 million or close. So we'll see what happens in this one. And this one is working out great too. So as you can see, lots of really awesome plays in the group, like small cap plays, right? So we are absolutely crushing it. And if you're not already in Alpha Seedlings, definitely send me or Bits of Wealth a DM so we can get you added. It's our community where we share a lot of these plays. SKR, Predict, and Clippy are still holding. SKR, yes, I've actually have my SKR staked that I received from my Solana Seeker mobile phone, which arrived after so many years of ordering. And so we'll see how it's very interesting because I think most people have gotten pretty much the entire amount that they had out, like in rewards, right? So I think they've done already. They've received the equivalent amount of tokens in SKR, the same amount that they spent on the phone itself. So that's really amazing. And then we have, let's see, Seeker, we have Clippy. I know Clippy you shared out as well. I wonder what it's doing. Yeah, it's holding really well. Okay, so this is the level here. Okay, so if the price comes back down, maybe I'll buy a little bit. Interesting. Maybe it can do another 2x off of
Yeah,
this
it could
level.
maybe sweep one more time, but
Mhm.
that last move to the downside though left it at the
Mhm.
wick, and it filled. Looks like it filled most of that imbalance, didn't it? That little move there.
Yeah, it did. Yep, it did.
So
Yeah,
you know,
might not.
even here, it's not bad. Risk to reward. Yeah.
Yeah. Risk reward is not bad at all on this one. See how the daily is looking on
Is
this.
this the OG Clippy? This is like
Mhm.
the. Oh yeah, this is it. Huh?
Yeah, I don't
Um,
like this kind of moves though. It's like it's
no.
almost like telling me it's rugging. I need to
Well,
see maybe.
well, no. What this is actually giving me is maybe more conviction that it maybe does need to go down there and sweep into that purple area still.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Because if it can do that, then I do think it can still turn around. Yeah.
Yeah, depending on how beautiful the daily close
Yeah.
is on this one. But yeah, I'll be watching. Thanks, Carl. It kind of fell off my radar. Now it's back on. I'll be watching it. Maybe it can go to about maybe 400K bits even, like a little bit under 500.
Yeah, I think like at this point it would have to come under at least under 600. So you probably need to be, probably like into the fours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, if it does that though, I think there could be an opportunity there.
Mhm. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Solana, doing this, it actually came all the way down here. This was pretty amazing. I mean, this was a bit of an exaggeration too, right? Like when we say this, we are just like we like to throw it like this, but it really means this one.
You got to throw it out there just to add a little flair to it, a little bit of
Right.
swag and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Be a bit dramatic. But man, if Bitcoin was to crash a little bit even, I mean, it could
Mm,
create a new low here.
yeah.
It's could really sweep the liquidity here. But yeah, this is interesting. The lines that work. Anything else, Bits? Any other small cap place that you're in or anything?
No, not really. I mean, I probably need to get back into some of those like memes because so one thing I will say, I guess here throw the chart back to me.
Yeah.
The screen or whatever back to me. One thing that I think we should cover is I was looking at the total charts, and so total crypto, it did come down, and look, it just came into this liquidity, and it's currently bouncing, right? Whether that's the final bounce or not, we'll find out. Very very clear setup here though, where it's like below that, I'm not as bullish, and above here I get pretty bullish. Like if we do that again, that's probably pretty bullish because this is clear structure, right? You got a lower low, and you've got a lower high, and so if suddenly we're putting in a higher low, it's like, okay, maybe this thing is going to do that. So if we're going to do that, I was watching Total 3 for the alts, right? So Total 3, it could still have one more push down. Like maybe it's got one last push down here. But again, very, very like simple invalidation here is that you've got lower lows. You've got this swing high in between those two lower lows. So if we can get a daily close up here above this high here, above like 575, if we can get a daily close up here, that changes that daily trend. So now we are looking at a higher high. And so our expectation would be, even if it comes back down, we're looking for a higher low. And I think that the possibility of move up here increases dramatically. So this is kind of what I'm looking for. I think if, ideally like in the next week, we want to see a move like this, but if this happens in the next few days, that'd be fine also. If this happens, you're basically adding, you're adding, what are you adding here? You're adding a good bit. I mean, this would be like almost a 20% increase to the total 3, and this is excluding stable coins, by the way. So this does not include stable coins in total crypto here for others, or total 3, sorry. So I am watching this. I think if we get a close above here, on this pullback will be the opportunity to position into alts that you think are getting ready to absolutely pump.
Yeah.
And then we'll see.
That
I
would be
think
very
others could do the same thing. Check out others. Others is getting a nice little double bottom here. This one is going to be so easy to oh my god, this one is like beautiful. It wouldn't take a lot for us to see some action out of these memes and altcoins. Look at this. This is so easy. Here's your structure that you need to basically get above. Like get above that there, right? So all we need is a daily candle at some point that does this and closes above that, right? And that's it. Like send it, right? Signal candle green. Like we need that. Whether it's this current candle or whether it's the next one, you need that. As soon as you print that, even if you get a red candle, very likely that the next red candle is going to be a higher low. And then we're looking up here and we can get a nice little run on the memes and all of this stuff. So definitely time to be paying attention. Like there's some positioning we could probably do already. The risk is that, we're not 100% sure if this doesn't have one final wipeout and then it does that, right? That's the risk now, versus once you wait for a close above this, there's nothing else. That's it. You get that close above here, and that's your confirmation that we're shifting that structure, and there's a good chance you're coming back up here. So
no,
yeah, let's see.
This will be very interesting.
I'll be watching this because I do want to play with the memes and the alts, but I think I need to see some confirmation here.
Yeah. I mean, if that confirmation was to happen, it's going to be interesting. Yep. Lots of great plays then in the market.
Oh yeah. We'll have some runners. We'll have some good runners. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I've got. I think we about covered it.
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
Before we end? All right. Well, this was a great discussion today. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Again, we are hoping for some bullish price action on Bitcoin before we see the lows. So we'll see. Hopefully we have the next few weeks that are green and nice. We can find more plays, and yeah, very exciting times for sure. Thank you so much, Bits, for co-hosting it with me. Yeah. And thanks for everybody who was able to tune in today. We'll see you again on Wednesday. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
See you guys.